Bulby in North Yorkshire, where England's highest sea cliff looms over the North Sea. Where our deepest mine provides potash far below the fields. And now, a third superlative, just inland from the cliff edge.
It is a fantastically exciting site. It is the only site where we have evidence for salt production in Neolithic Britain.
It's rewriting prehistory, of course, and what we're finding is that it's changing people's perceptions.
This charred ground then, a furnace around 6,000 years old to make salt from seawater.
This is, if you like, the furnace, or this main source of heat that we've got. You can see there are clay walls, we've got masses of potsherds in here and vessels that have been affected by heat. And the vessels, as I've said, are a different shape. We're getting salt deposits in the bottom of these vessels that give us this degree of certainty that they're manufacturing salt.
A cutting-edge picture is emerging daily from this dig. New evidence of how we lived just when humans in Britain were changing from hunter-gathering to farming. Sometimes literally cutting edge. A flint blade eased from the clay after 60 centuries. The blade's still so sharp, 6,000 years on, you can cut your hair with it.
This is an XRF machine, so a particle X-ray fluorescence machine.
The application of 21st century X-ray technology is turning hunch and supposition into evidence and fact.
So now we're in the second range of the scan, and this is when we'll start to find salt. So you can see here it's coming up. We've got chlorine, that's the salt we're wanting to see.
Oh, it's beeping with happiness.
It's beeping with happiness. So we did find it on this pot, and that's brilliant. So that, compared with the other analysis, does tell us that salt was put into these pots for the purpose, which is amazing.
Salt, more valuable than gold, meant they could start preserving meat and food through the winter, a game changer in human development.
But tonight we can reveal a remarkable discovery made here in just the last few days. They found not just traces of salt on shards of pottery like this, but also traces of dairy products. Now that means it's highly likely that people here were not just manufacturing their salt, they were also making cheese.
And does the mound, does it skyline? Is it on the skyline?
One of Britain's leading Neolithic experts says this is breaking new ground.
That's absolutely a first, and it's thanks to the appliance of science. And really interesting thing is that people were lactose intolerant at the time, but by converting the milk into cheese, it's making it more easily digestible if you're lactose intolerant.
Researchers in Brighton have produced this image of how they believe these people looked. But where had they come from? The answer, they now know, is weirdly familiar. They were migrants coming to Britain in small boats from the Calais area of France.
Genetically, we know that the farming communities have a genetic signature that is completely different from that of the indigenous hunter-gatherer fishers who lived in Britain before them. And in fact, there's one example of a perfect match between somebody from North Pas de Calais and somebody from Neolithic Britain.
Moreover, they introduced pottery here, which was unknown and was of the same type as people were using then in northern France.
As you might say, it's the site that keeps on giving.
Archaeologist and local Dr. Steve Sherlock first began digging here way back in 1979. His dedication now rewriting prehistory before our eyes. So French salt and cheese-making migrants transforming Britain, indeed Britishness, centuries before the same people would go on to build Stonehenge. We knew none of this until Bulby began revealing its secrets.